All right, welcome everybody to the Corso Academy with your host, Pam Greshak. I'm just going to announce everybody here, Whitney Whitaker, and of course, Tony Scandy of Scandifio Cane Corso. Today, we are going to get moving right along here. We have a very special guest on, if you can see, Justin Rigney. Hello.
I don't know about all that special stuff, but I'm here.
Welcome, Justin. Glad to have you.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
I'm going to introduce
Appreciate it.
who Justin is really quick to the guests or to our people that are watching that might not know who Justin is. Justin Rigney of Canine Services Unlimited, I'm just reading right off his website here, has over 25 years of professional dog training experience, was law enforcement officer for 17 years, and he spent 10 of those years as a canine handler and trainer. So he's here today on the Corso Academy because of an Instagram reel that he posted that sparked a lot of conversation. I immediately messaged him at like 7 a.m. after it was on. And I was like, you have to come on. And he's like, sure. So here we are.
I woke up and that thing was blasted all over my news feed and people were sending it to me. And
Yep.
Good message.
So we're grateful that you're on, Justin. And of course, you're on here with Tony. Anybody that is watching the show knows who Tony is. So anyway,
Awesome.
We wanted to talk about that Instagram post really quickly, Justin. And that was sparked from your experience with Corso.
Can I
So
say something before he goes? I want to say something about Justin first too, because we have a lot of Corso people watching. So here's the deal about Justin. Justin is we've never spoke before, not one time. This is the first time we've ever talked. We didn't talk like a 10-minute prep call before this. And here's what I'm going to say. The reason he's on here, we've had multiple people, trainers and stuff, supposed trainers want to come on and talk. They're uneducated. This man, just from watching him, I know he's extremely educated. And that's why it's an honor to have somebody like this on the show. We're not going to have clowns on the show, these ass clowns out there that, pretend they know what they're doing or pretend they're trainers. Unfortunately, just like breeding, you don't have to have a certificate. You can pretend you're a trainer and make a YouTube page or whatever. Experts like this man here that know what they're doing, that have been doing it his whole life. It's been his life's work and his dedication, loves what he does, enjoys what he does, and gets paid to do what he does. It's the same thing as like somebody like myself. Definitely consider myself an expert at what I'm doing, because it's been my passion. It's my love. He's the same type of person as me. I've watched him multiple times. He probably didn't even know that, but I've always watched him. Him and one of his buddies, Garrett, those guys know what you're talking about.
Right
So
on.
just so everybody, the Corso people know, this is the real deal. You're talking to the real deal right here. He's an expert.
Tony's not going to waste his time talking to anybody.
That's true.
Well, I appreciate that intro, man. It's great to meet you too. And it reminds me, I got to update my website. I got about almost 34 years in this game, and it's about all I know in this life. There's not a whole lot else of shit I know, but I got some experience in dogs, and I started in dogs first, and then they brought me into law enforcement. And as you mentioned, I got to spend some time as a canine handler, and now coming full circle and back out, retired in the civilian life and training dogs and teaching coast to coast. So I appreciate that. And I spent most of my adult life in South Florida, and I think it seems to be the Cane Corso epicenter of the universe. So I've had my hands on tons of them, occasional good ones. But as I made that post, and I'm very transparent and authentic in what I say, and I stand behind what I say, is that it's been a long time since I've seen any consistent good ones. And when I say good ones, I'm not talking about ones that do bite work or protection dogs, just stable nerves. Yeah. And that seems to be the big lacking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched your post, Justin. I loved it. I didn't share it yet because I wanted to wait for this, but I loved it. And one of the reasons I loved it, you said the same thing I've been saying for the last 30 years in this breed. There's a lot of clowns out there in this breed, and I'm sure you see it in other breeds too that you guys see come through. A lot of the people try to make it out like it's a breed problem. It's the breed. The Corso's not a good dog. They're unstable. All these trainers, veterinarians all across the nation, I talk to them all the time. And, when they talk to me, they're like, man, your dog is totally different than what we've seen. I've had veterinarians try to talk people out of getting one. And the client calls me and I say, listen, vet's not telling you anything wrong. They're like, what the hell are you trying to sell me a dog for? I'm like, listen, here's the deal. I don't care if you get a dog or not, but what I want you to do is give it a chance. Take my dog to your veterinarian. And I'll guarantee you, because I've heard it probably 40 other times, he's going to tell you it's like a different breed. And he's going to start recommending Corsos, but only from me. It's because, like what you do with your training, you're dedicated to it. I'm dedicated to the breed. I wanted to have mentally sound, mentally stable dogs. It's something I've been preaching for years. And that's in the genes of the dog. That's in how they're bred. It starts how they're bred. Training is a huge, huge aspect to it. If I can get dogs with a guy like yourself or Garrett, I mean, it would be the next level, Shepherd, Malinois, police dogs, whatever. But, unfortunately, the breed's not there yet. It's going to take probably many, many years to ever get there, if it ever gets there, because there's so many Mals and Shepherds that are doing such an incredible job. Not many people are going to want to even attempt to mess around with a different breed. But it's a lot of this is genetics. It's what we see in the whelping box. 37 years of doing this, I've seen so much shit you couldn't even imagine. When I started working with Whitney, she had reached out as a trainer, and I told Whitney, get your ass up here. I'm not going to talk on the phone. We're going to come see what I'm talking about. Then she would call me with problems and issues with other dogs, and I would tell her what the pedigrees were, and sometimes she'd call me and tell me where a dog came from, and I already know what problems you're having. I'd start telling her, and she'd be puzzled. Man, how the hell do you know this shit?
It's true.
You don't even know the dog. You didn't see the dog. It's genetics. It starts in that whelping pen. Too many people are mass producing all breeds, and Corso's big time because they're a rare breed. Just mass producing, and it's all about money, no stability whatsoever. And they understand stability. A lot of these people understand mental stability. They just keep pumping them out because it's money, man, and just making every excuse for it. So when someone like yourself at your level comes on and speaks something like that, it's incredible, man. It's I'm going to share it now, and we're going to talk about it, across. Hopefully, it's across the world, not just in the country. Same thing in Italy, same thing in France, same thing in Israel, Europe, all over the place. There's the same type of basket cases out there. Schizos, they're just totally mentally unstable. And then, one of the things you said is about, the backyard breeders. They got to stop. The crazy thing is, and this is just something that, you're not a breeder, you're an expert trainer. So like, it'll blow your mind. It's not just backyard breeders. It's some of the big name breeders. It's some of the big name breeders that have these great websites that pose as they did this and they did that. And I'm on the club and I'm a board of director and I'm a head of the standard committee. He bumped off.
He jumped out.
So I think that's true, though. A lot of people, they don't realize that it's not just your hobby breeders that are contributing to this problem. Some of the biggest names in the game have the most unstable dogs, and I think that's important to note. Somebody can have a fancy website, they can be producing a lot of dogs, but that doesn't mean they're producing good dogs.
Right. Yeah, I stopped talking, Justin, when you cut out. Whitney talked a little bit about it still. So I'll pick up where we left off, about like the big name breeders. It would shock you and blow your mind that some of these big name breeders that, they're the ones that are producing these unstable dogs, and they know it, but they just keep doing it because it's all about the money to them. It's all about the dollar. They're destroying good breeds. And it's not in just Corsos, it's in all breeds. I'm sure you've seen it in Rottweilers, Shepherds, Dogs, and then even like some big name breeders that some of the trainers, as big as you guys have named, some of those breeders, they've never visited their kennel to be able to see what they really have, and some of them should go visit. They need to go visit these kennels. One of the kennels that, a big name guy that's a trainer that I respect mentioned, he has no idea what's going on at that breeder's backyard and what kind of stuff he's doing. That the one breeder that they mention a lot, he prides himself on that he breeds, 100 litters a year and sells more dogs than anybody in the country. That's absolutely zero to pride yourself on. That's something that you should be ashamed of. That's a puppy mill. You don't know those dogs. You don't know anything you're putting out, but because you market good, you sell 100 or 1,000 dogs a year. It's terrible. And some of these guys are naming these guys as ethical and reputed breeders because maybe one dog they seen was decent. Like you just made a mention, has to be consistency. Lions have to be consistent. Breeders have to be consistent for years. But no, that's what I want to say. Just mention it's not just the small breeders, but you go ahead and talk, Justin. I would like to hear what you got to say because you've seen a lot.
Yeah. So Justin, what have you seen? So what sparked that post? Because obviously it's kind of a buildup. It's not like you're just going to say it on a whim. So what sparked that reel that you came on? Because it could have been any breed, but what are you seeing right now?
I did an evaluation with a young Corso. He's almost 6 months old. Can you hear me now or no?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. It's just been very consistent. What I'm about to share with you is something I've seen like constantly. Like other than Garrett's dog, that isn't freaked out. I have a friend of mine in Florida, a very dear friend. Her Corso looks legitimately like a silverback gorilla, gorgeous, stunning, absolutely incredible creature. I mean, looks like fucking Ronnie Coleman. If a flea farts from a mile away, he's running for the hills, like legit.
Yeah.
Like the slightest little noise.
Yes, sir.
It's crazy, man. Their nerves are shot. So
and
I did an evaluation with one recently, and they do, and it's sad. And so I don't understand why. Like,
they're all money driven, man. It's just about money to them.
Yeah, but it still doesn't make sense to me, man. Like, because it's the same amount of effort, and you'll get a better return by producing better dogs. So I don't understand. Like, are they just so knee deep in their shit that they're kennel blind and their ego's taken over and they just can't see through it? I don't understand, you know. And I do see it in many other breeds. And as I mentioned in that post, there's a Malinois breeder that I know does the same shit. Garbage, absolute garbage, and knows it.
Right. And they keep doing it. And you're right. What you just said, those are all reasons. Like you said, they're knee deep in that garbage. They don't care. They don't respect anything that you're doing. And majority of it, most of the drive of all that is money driven. They don't want to invest in better dogs. Yeah. Like I hate to say these kind of words, but legitimately some of these big name breeders and some of the backyard breeders with what they're breeding, they should euthanize 98% of their kennel or 90 and start over. Like, they're not dogs that should be even walking the face of the earth, because just my opinion, and I know you're a trainer and you might have a different opinion, I don't know. But when you have mental instability in the dog, okay. I'm glad you don't.
I'm right there with you, bro. No, I'm right there with you.
There's no choice.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there's no choice. They have to be put down, man. They have to be euthanized, because somebody like yourself or me that knows what to do with them or how to control them, they're not in the right hands. And nobody wants that. That's not what's supposed to be a dog for a family. It's supposed to be a fun, enjoyable thing, or it's supposed to be a working dog that's mentally sound and able to work and do what you guys want it to do.
And Garrett and I just did a class together in Florida, like last week.
Okay.
And there was a lady in the class, and she had this 15-month-old, like 120-pound Corso, and she told me it bit her a few times, and already my hackles are up, because I have zero tolerance for that, man. If a dog's gonna put his teeth on his owner, he doesn't need to be on the planet. So
no, sir. There you go.
She brings the dog into the class, and I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, where's the Corso? It looks like a fucking giraffe. I mean, it looks like a Great Dane. Corso. It's just, and she was heartbroken. And I feel like a lot of times I'm in the business of breaking people's hearts, because I told her, I said, kill this fucking thing yesterday.
You feel bad, but you have to, man. You have to. That's what you have to tell them.
So what did she come there for? Did she come there for like behavior modification? Did she come there for like general training, or she just wanted an eval of her dog?
All the above. It was a class that we had cops in the class, we had working dogs, we had pet people. It was anything they wanted to cover, Garrett and I addressed. And she wanted an eval on the dog. And I think sometimes I'm like canine Kevorkian, man. Like, I see a lot of my peers putting on bite suits and fucking working dogs and catch sticks. I mean, these are pet dogs, and with the high levels of aggression that have bit the owners, bit a lot of people. And they do that flashy shit for the gram. Like, I do 0.00 aggression cases. I don't fuck with it whatsoever.
Right.
It's a perishable skill. It is non-transferable. When you put the dog back in the environment where it was empowered to begin with, it's going right back to square one.
Right on.
And most people can't manage that shit.
No.
So, and all these people that put on the bite suits and then show the progression in a board and train. Yes, I can educate an animal very fucking quickly that I'm off the menu. Yep. Whoever's around me is off the menu too.
Right.
But then what you never see on Instagram is that show me 2 months later once the dog's home. Show me 2 months later when the owner wakes up and steps on the dog's toe.
Right.
See what happens.
Right.
So it's all.
It's like Sean O'Shea. Sean O'Shea always says some dogs can be owned by anyone, some dogs can be owned by some people, and some dogs should be owned by no one. And that's really what it is. That's what Justin, that's what you're saying. That's what I believe. Just because I can modify the behaviors and just because I can make the dog safe to live with me as a trainer, doesn't mean I should modify the behaviors and send it home into a pet home with an average owner that doesn't realize you have a loaded gun that's going to misfire.
Yep.
So I have a question for you guys both. I'm gonna send it to Justin first, and then I want Tony to follow up on it. So there's a popular saying that I've heard it hundreds of times, and I know you guys have too. And that saying is, there are no bad dogs, just bad owners, right? So when you guys hear that, so I'll send it to Justin first. When you hear that, what is your response? There are no bad dogs, just bad owners.
So that's a marketing gimmick, but if they believe that, they haven't been around enough dogs.
There you go. Real simple.
Because there's some dogs that need to die immediately.
Real simple.
Just
100%.
Just like people. Just like fucking people.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Right. There's dangerous people, there's dangerous dogs, and some can't be helped.
And I think this is where dog owners, like average dog owners, or people just looking into these breeds, or they see them. I mean, even my dog, like people see my dog and I'm like, this is, I do a lot of work with this dog, and I have one well-bred Corso. That's it. Like, this is not just an average dog that I just went and got, And so I think that dog owners tend to miss that message, or don't want to hear that message, or don't even know that that's out there, that, hey, there's a lot of these dogs that should not even be here, because at the end of the day, they're an animal. So I think these conversations are really important for people to hear, looking into the breed, and just looking into all of these breeds. It's like, hey, there's a lot of these dogs that should just not be around, because not coming from the dog world, you don't know that that's being said, right? You guys all have lived in the dog world, and on the outside, nobody hears that message of, hey, those dogs shouldn't even be alive. So I think that's
average pet owners. Yeah. Average pet owners don't want to acknowledge that the reality.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, Justin. I'm going to ask you a question, and it's pertaining to what they're talking about right now. And I know you're going to have the answer for it and an opinion with it too. I'm going to bet it's going to agree with mine. And like I said, we've never talked before, but just watching somebody, watching you on all your, your YouTube stuff, you sound just like me, man. Totally. Your attitude, everything, the same way you carry yourself. I mean, you're me, and we don't even know each other. This is the first time we ever talked. But so when you have dogs out there in all breeds that come in through your training, and they're a basket case, man. They're a mental basket case. One of the things that I always try to tell people with the Corsos, it's genetic, and it's genetic just like mental retardation in people. It's no different. The difference is we have homes for learning disabled children that are people that work at these homes that are professionals to deal with them all day, every day, and make their life better. You know what I mean? Like, I have a very good friend of mine that had to put 2 children into the home, and he was mad because I told him in the beginning, it's the best thing. Didn't talk to me for probably 4 months. After he put him in there, he called me and said, Tony, it was the best thing I ever did, man. My kids are so happy right now, you couldn't even imagine. Well, with the dogs, we don't have places like that, and you can't put a dog like that in a family home or any home at all, because the problem is, just like mental retardation strength, dogs that are mentally unstable, they got a whole nother level of strength, and it's a danger. You put it in a home and it attacks a kid or bites somebody, it's fear motivated. It's because it's mentally unsound. It's not the dog's fault. I blame the breeders. It's the breeders in all these breeds that continue to breed from this, because it's all about money and they want to mass produce and make money. When the breeders see that shit, they should be euthanized. Like, I don't pride myself on it, but I do in a way that I've put a lot of dogs down in the beginning of this. 37 years I've been doing this. The first probably 15 years, a lot of dogs went to sleep. And my veterinarians never argued with me. Maybe one time he questioned me. And I said, okay, well, if you want to get it into a home, that's on you. But here's what we're going to do. Why don't you give it about a half hour and call me? Call me in 10 minutes. Hey, Mr. Skinner, we're putting him down. I said, oh, what happened?
Yeah.
I already tried to tell you that. Well, he showed he was so nice. I said, yeah, he's so nice at times. And then he just snaps for no reason. So have you seen that same thing in other breeds coming through your school?
Yeah. And, the problem is that, I get everybody's trying to make a living as a trainer, but they throw around the terminology fix.
Right.
And there is no fixing this shit. And it's 100% what you said. It's when the sperm hit the egg. And then, when that genetic blueprint's established, it's manifested in the environment that the animal grows up in. And it's unknowingly, like a lot of these people, their heart's in the right place. Like I have a young one that I've recently worked with that when I did the evaluation, I come in, he's sitting on the couch. He's quivering like he's fucking like about to shit himself because I walk in the house.
I've seen
and
it,
the feedback Yeah, the feedback I get from the owner is like he sleeps in bed with them. The mom works at home full time. Like the dog's never alone. So all that they're just nurturing and manifesting the weakness and the nervousness and the neediness of the animal, and then it absolutely shows. So when it comes down to this nervous, fear-based reactivity, aggression, like the things that the dog that has the impulses where it almost like can't manage life.
Exactly.
There's no extinction. There's no fixing it. It's mitigation and management.
Right.
And that's where people fall apart, because the training is like diet and exercise, use it or lose it. And people think that they're going to pay for the service and not have to maintain the training. And when the dog's got, like you said, almost like a special needs child,
right,
it's ongoing maintenance training. And that's exactly the situation your friend encountered, is that we're not just born with a skill set on how to manage these type of things. So, you know, I think a lot of trainers are doing themselves or people a disservice and doing the breed a disservice. And you know, somebody sent me a staggering statistic not too long ago that since COVID, there's been a 200% increase in dog trainers nationwide.
Oh, I'm sure.
And as you said, Tony, you can just put the shingle out. Anybody can claim they're a fucking trainer.
Right.
And these people are not, they're not prepared to deal with this kind of shit.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of them that do that, they have no clue about training, and they're starting up a training school where you got people like yourself that it's been your life's work, your whole life. And you love it. It's not just something that you're doing for money. Fortunately, people like us can do well on something that we love to do. I watched one of your things with Garrett the other day, and it was talking about you played baseball when you were younger too. You went to actually to the pros for a while. Only other thing you probably wish you were doing. I tell people the same thing about myself: boxing or baseball. And if it ain't one of those, I love dogs. I love what I do. But you're passionate at what you do, and you're going to work harder than anybody in the world at it. Same thing I'm going to do with the dogs. Somebody like yourself that's an expert at what you do, you're needed, man. Your voice is needed to be heard around all the different breeds worldwide, because you can educate people and make them understand what their breeders are lying to them and telling them. They're telling them the total opposite. Oh, no, it's the way you raised it. It's your fault. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to get a trainer. I've seen so many trainers that, unlike you, that are professional, that would just tell them, hey, listen, lights out, got to go. They'll take $5,000 off somebody first and then say, listen, here's the deal. I mean, I did everything I could do, and they didn't do shit. They took the dog for 2 months, boarded it, and they probably didn't do one bit attempt of training. They took the people for $5,000, and then at the end, they said, listen, here's the deal.
More.
You gotta talk to your breeder. I'd be asking for replacement. You should put this dog down. After they took $5,000, they knew what they were doing in the start of that, in my opinion, a lot of the people. And they just wanted that $5,000, throw a dog in a kennel, not do shit with it. I mean, feed it minimal, let it get to skin and bones, you know what I mean? And then it gets put down when they knew up front. People like yourselves, those are the kind of trainers that should be worldwide. Like there should have to be a certification through people like yourself to certify to be a dog trainer. You know what I mean? Like you should.
Whitney, you had something to say about that.
Do you think that a lot of trainers actually believe that they can fix the dog?
Yes, I've gone toe to toe on social media.
I think a lot of them think they can be, you know, God and fix the dog.
Well, when they say fix,
I think their heart's in the right place, but
I just think, yes, in their hands. Will they ever see it again? Maybe not.
Right.
But it's non-transferable. Like, are you going to sit here? You're going to collect all these dogs? No, they have to go home at some point. And that's where it falls apart. The shit, and that's where you never ever see the follow-up bullshit on social media. And you know, things change. And I tell these owners, like, and I use a lot of human analogies because, again, pet people, they're just late. They don't understand the terminology and understand dog behaviors. I tell people, like, serial killers were nice little happy kids at one point in time.
Yep.
Then genetics, environment, and life experience had a collision course, and the switch was flipped.
I always say Jeffrey Dahmer was somebody's cute little boy once too.
Exactly, and that shit happens. And,
you know.
So it's unfortunate. A lot of it I blame Hollywood. I haven't seen too many movies with Corsos, but you know, Tony, we're probably the same age, bro. Like, you remember that movie The Omen with the Rottweilers and shit, and then of course Magnum PI fucking destroyed the Doberman. 101 Dalmatians destroyed the Dalmatian, and then now we see John Wick. John Wick has destroyed the Malinois. So it's unfortunate, man. And there's no.
I tell people all the time, there's more Dalmatian bites in those times than ever, and it goes back to what we're talking about breeding. There was people, everybody wanted to breed a Dalmatian because they were selling them like crazy. Full brothers and sisters, mothers to sons, everything in the world that you should never do, just breeding them like crazy. So a lot of the Dalmatian issues isn't because it was a bunch of bad Dalmatians, because it was a bunch of unscrupulous breeders that had no clue what they were doing, and it was just about the almighty dollar, man. The almighty dollar, the greed of breeds is what kills breeds. It destroys them.
So Justin, what do you think would be a solution? Like where can we move forward towards a solution to some of these issues? Because obviously we can't fix everything. People are going to do what they want. But where do you think that somebody, like all of us collectively that care as we do from all these different backgrounds, what could we do? Hard question.
Think it's being it's being radically honest, and I think exposing the things that we see.
Yeah.
Like again, I have a dog, a Corso that I was charging a clicker with that pissed himself 3 fucking times from a clicker and a food pouch. And the owners are saying, well, don't you think with good training and time, like you'll get confident? Fuck no. Like he's gonna be bigger. He's gonna be 130 fucking pounds when he grows up. And then what happens when he starts to fucking have these nervous reactions and people get the fuck out of his way? Because that's the goal with defensive fear-based reactivity, is that he starts to realize he can push people around acting like an asshole, and then it becomes the bully syndrome, right? And so I think it has to be with, not just destroying people's credibility, but really just documenting and showing what we see as trainers. Like, this is not what you should expect. And again, what's hard about what we do is that we're tapping in, and we are trying to be very transparent, but what the breeders are doing is they're preying upon these people's emotions. It's not like you buy a car and the thing's not working, you cash that thing in on a lemon law and get your money back or switch cars. Like, people aren't going to do that with these animals, because now it's a part of the family.
Exactly.
It's anthropomorphism. Like, they're attaching human emotion to a creature that doesn't display human emotion. They have emotion, but not the same as ours. So I just think the social media is a powerful tool. It's a very, very powerful. It can be absolutely be the devil's website. It can be very fucking toxic.
Right.
But I think it's a powerful form of medium to expose what's going on. So people are aware of these things. They're an informed buyer. When they go looking for these breeds, that they're just not, going and seeing the most beautiful dog and grabbing it. Like, there's way more to it.
Yeah, like, to me, just what you said, that's the reason that I finally came on. Like, they've been asking me for years to come on. Multiple people have been asking me, you got to come on, man. You got to start telling everything, telling this, and I used to tell the same shit to people nonstop all day, 5 different people a day, taking your life away. And I'm like, you know what? Let me do this shit. So now it's getting exposure nationally, worldwide. Now you see some breeders starting to sweat, and they're like, oh, shit, he's telling it all now. What are we going to do now? So now I'm forcing them. They're going to get forced to start changing their program, or they're not going to be able to sell a dog anymore, because the people aren't going to buy their bullshit about it's their fault. You raised it wrong. It's something you did. Oh yeah, get another trainer. Your trainer doesn't know what he's talking about. The dog's great. It's just the breed. It's not the breed, man. It's not the breed. And this is the great thing with experts like yourself coming on, especially trainers. Like, I get a little credibility because of what I've done in the years that I've been doing this. Many champions. I got a lot of stuff that I've done, but I'm still not a trainer like yourself. So it's going to be so much more credible with somebody like you that has seen it and understands it. That's worldwide. People acknowledge you worldwide. They're going to understand it. Like, not only Tony Scanny said it, but Justin Rigney, one of the top trainers in the world, he said everything the same thing Tony said, and he's agreeing with it, and they're both agreeing with each other. We're giving facts. It didn't take us being like rocket scientists or experts to understand all this. You've seen it in your hands working with them. I've seen it in my hands breeding them, and seen other breeders' stuff in our hands. We know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And we're honest. There's no toleration.
And I've heard Garrett say too, like, you can even have a well-bred dog and still not know what to do with it. Like, here's a working line dog and you have no clue. It's sitting on your couch. Like you said, there's no boundaries. And Whitney talks a lot about that. Do you think that it could be even better too if owners or owners that were looking at these breeds maybe had breeders help them pick out their dogs and kind of lined up training before they got their dog, and just kind of had this cool looking dog and has no idea what to do with it? Do you think that would be part of the solution? Maybe is, like Tony picked my dog out for me. He knew what I wanted. He knew what I went through with my other dog, And we waited and waited until he could pick the right puppy for me and my family. And, you know, I kind of just gave that to him and said, okay, this is what I'm looking for, and waited.
Yeah, you know, there's just so many fucking scam artists in every avenue of life, and social media exasperates all of it. So it's very hard for the lay person and the naive, uneducated person to sift through the bullshit about what's credible, what's right, what's real, and that's the hard thing. So all you can do is do things like this: continue to put out good products, continue to expose the things that shouldn't be out there, and you know,
conversations.
And the thing with dogs, whether it's ownership or it's in breeding or it's in trainers, like a lot of people gravitate towards dogs because they can't fucking function in a human social setting. Like there's a lot of fucking dysfunctional shit that goes on, and the dogs can't tell your fucking dirty secrets. And these people, again, breeding side or pet side, they start living vicariously through their fucking dogs. And it's a lot of this shit's unfair. It's abusive. Like I trained a wolf hybrid probably a couple months ago, and the dog was one of the biggest fucking train wrecks I've ever had. And I documented everything. And it displays a lot of very good training techniques, how you can get dogs through these things to help them understand. And I broke down behaviorally what I was doing. I was mic'd up with each repetition, just kind of voicing what I'm seeing and how I addressed it. And I got her scared of fucking everything on earth. Again, like the wolf part of her was in the frontal lobe and operating the steering the ship. So she wanted to run for the fucking hills on everything. So I broke down behaviorally what was happening. I got her to the point where I could work her off leash. I could take her into Home Depot just to demonstrate that I could get her that far. But at the end of the day, is the fucking animal happy? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Right. And the human analogy I use for that shit is, and again, this young Corso that I'm working with, these folks that want to take him everywhere. They want to take him to restaurants. They want to take him to Home Depot. They want to take him to work. I'm like, can the training make him get through it? Yes. Is the dog fucking happy? And the analogy I use for that, it's like taking a child who's on the spectrum, and I have one, so I can say this without saying cold, or a child that's got, you know, Asperger's. It's like making them go to a fucking rave, right? Like you want to go to the rave, you want to hear the beats, you want to see the lights. All that shit is causing the child so much fucking turmoil. But because you're living vicariously through the dog and you're fucking kennel blind, you're going to force the dog into these situations. It's fucking abusive.
Right.
You know? And
absolutely.
that's part of it too, man. Like some of these dogs will be okay. Just leave him at the fucking house. Like stop dragging him into situations they're not genetically capable of handling.
At the very least, stop treating them like a person trapped in a fur coat. Like, you know, like that's, like you said, that's abusive. People want to talk to us about, you know, prong collars being abusive, e-collars being abusive, or anything like that, right? Any type of adversive, that's abusive. I think treating a dog like a person trapped in a fur coat, I think that's abusive.
Well, and I think Whitney has said many times too, like you have to, sometimes you have a vision of what a dog is going to be in your life. And sometimes you end up with a dog that doesn't want to do that. So you have to look at the dog in front of you, right? Because kind of what you're saying, Justin, like, you know, maybe this dog isn't that dog that wants to go places. And you might be better off just kind of realizing that's the dog in front of you and kind of adjust your plans accordingly.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, no, I love that answer too, because that's, I think, something too that owners aren't thinking about either, that, hey, that you might end up with a dog that doesn't want to do all of the things, you know?
How do your owners respond to you when you do say, hey, I think it needs to be lights out for this dog, or I'm not going to continue the training because your dog's human aggressive and I don't want my name or my business attached to, you know, this dog that's going to leave here in my care and go bite somebody. How are you seeing on your boots on the ground, you know, giving that information with your clients or potential clients?
I do that and I make sure it's in writing. And I'm going through it right now. I trained 3 dogs for a client, extremely wealthy client. And it's the serial killer analogy I gave you. One of the male dogs, super fucking cool. Not a Corso, fucking cool. And then it starts to manifest. He's fucking nuked 3 people now. The last one, real fucking bad. The guy was armed that he fucking nuked and was going to execute the dog. And I wish he did. And I've had, it's you know, these folks, they jet set across the world and they fucking have multiple houses. They delegate responsibility of the dogs out to people who are unqualified, that are on their estates. It goes to fucking shit. And I told him, I said, I said, kill this motherfucker yesterday. And I told him, I said, you will find another trainer that will tell you what you want to hear, that it can be fixed. They're going to gouge you for money. And you can go hire Cesar Millan to put his hands on this dog and get him right. It'll never work because you do not accept the information and apply it from the professionals. You think it's going to be fixed. You think it's going to be fixed like a car and put it right back into the service in your fleet, and it's going to be fine for life. That is not how a fucking dog works. So they did just that. They went to another trainer, and I thanked them. And I said, now I'm off the hook.
Right.
I've recommended behavioral euthanasia. Now you've sought other professional help. It is on them now. I am now relieved
Hands off. Right.
of this situation. So no, people will, it's just like Chat GPT, man. You can put in whatever the fuck you want to hear, and it'll spit back to you what you want. Like it's
how you ask the question.
Yeah.
No, that's good stuff. Whitney, did you have any more questions?
No, I was, you know, when I talk to folks about it, a lot of people, they don't want to hear it, of course, but I think a lot of people that I talk to, they do accept the information. Once in a while, I'll get somebody that they just don't want to hear it. And I'm like, well, that's okay. Go find somebody else that's going to work with you to take your money. Because I morally can't do that. I morally can't take your money for something I know that I can't fix 100% fix. Right. And I can't morally let a dog go out in society that I said, oh yeah, well, we modify these behaviors. And then I find out I like bit your kid. Like, I'm not going to do that. So some people are like, they won't euthanize the dog, and that's okay. And I just set them free. But a lot of people, I can't get them to accept the reality.
Well, here's the thing. There's that saying that there's somebody for everybody. Is there a human in a situation that could be right for that one fucking dog? Yes. Every single puppy that's born every second of the day, there's a perfect life for that animal.
Right.
The hard part is finding that in between, right? And it's not going to happen. But that's what you just said is why I do not fucking talk on the phone. I text that shit or I email that shit. So it's documented.
You've got a paper trail.
Absolutely. We are big paper trail people.
Before we break, if you can, if Tony, you're not on social, I get, even from that post, I had a lot of people hitting me up for good breeders. I don't know where to send them. You know,
Tony has social. He's on.
You are okay.
Yeah.
So make sure
Justin, if you're ever in Ohio area, if you're ever coming through Ohio or anywhere around Ohio, I'd love you to stop out, man. Just stop out to visit the whole kennel, see all the dogs. If you're
how far are you from Columbus and Pickerington area?
Columbus, I'm about 2.5 hours north of Columbus.
Okay, because I ran into your friend there. I always see all the time.
Okay, yeah. If you're ever coming down there, man, please stop by. I definitely want you to stop by.
Yeah, and we can give you Tony's info, his his number and his Instagram and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, Justin, I was going to call you, might have been about a month ago. I was going to try to get your number a month to 2 months ago. You had actually put a video up and you were doing some training with a Corso, and you were like, I forget what you were saying, but I watched it. I was like, shit, I don't know. I don't think he understands it. That's probably genetic. And now I see that other video. I'm like, shit, he knows exactly what the hell it is, because your new video was a whole total change. You know what I'm talking about? A while back, there was something we were talking about, a dog that I don't know if you thought it shouldn't have been put down at the time, but it was a Corso. And I'm like, man, it's probably one of those basket cases. Is this the same dog or no? The same scenario? Or no different.
Nah, okay. I talk so much shit, bro. I can't even keep up with myself.
Yeah, I actually follow very few stories on Instagram because there's only a couple that you've seen and whatever. But daily, if anybody else gets anything from this, visit Justin's stories because they're complete comedy. Yeah, I like comedy. I like to laugh.
You'll get a laugh.
It's funny. So
it's real stuff, man. It's real stuff. I've been watching you for a long time.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man.
Very cool. Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming on. I know you were busy.
You know what? You got a couple more minutes or no? You got a couple more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So one last thing I'd love to talk about with you, as a trainer. So something that we talk about with a lot of the breeders, nationwide, worldwide. One of the things that I always try to express to breeders and to people, like the average families out there that want a Corso, or even average families that want a Rottweiler, they don't want the same Corso or Rottweiler that Justin would want as a police dog or a guy that knows what he's doing. They don't want the same one that, that Garrett would want, because they can't handle that dog. Even with the training, they're not going to stick with the training. One of the things I always try to tell a lot of the breeders to do is breed the most mentally sound, stable dogs that what I call them bulletproof. They don't have to be this crazy monster that wants to kill everything, because that's a danger. Could it be trained and trained? Yeah, but it's a danger. Don't ever breed a dog that's scared, fearful, timid, shy. There's nothing good that's going to ever come of that. Breed the dog. I always try to say, breed the dog that's the type of person like me and you, Justin. The dudes don't really give a shit, ain't scared of shit, but not going to start anything. We're not going to cause a problem, but we really don't give a fuck where we go. Nobody's going to intimidate us or bother us. We're going to walk in anywhere and like we own the place, but we're not cocky. We're not arrogant. Where we treat people right. You know what I mean? So that's the type of dog I try to breed. To me, that's the dog for all families. What we see some breeders out there trying to breed a Corso that's a little bit on the way too hard side, way too drivey, like that Malinois stuff. And I keep telling a lot of these people, if you keep doing that, you better have a big kennel set up, because you're going to get a lot of dogs back. What's your thoughts about this breed and other breeds and those type of mentality on owners, dog owners, and what's out there for people?
I've last 4 years, man, I'm very blessed to work with a lot of amazing people from all walks of life, man, from Fortune 100 people to NFL, Major League Baseball, actors, actresses, you name it, right? And elite special force operators. Like, very fucking few people on this planet have the actual skill set to manage an animal like that. And I don't even want that shit anymore. Like, my last patrol dog, I put him down several months ago, and he was a very fucking dangerous dog, and I'll never do that shit again. It's a full-time job, full-time liability. If people are seeking dogs, whether it's a Corso or another breed, for protection work, 99.999% of that shit is a visual deterrent. Like, you cannot put biters in these people's hands because of what I just said. Like, most people can't deal with that shit. They don't know, and they're not going to.
They think they want it, but they don't.
The whole Rin Tin Tin fucking Lassie shit. Dog's dead asleep and is going to know exactly who to fucking murk and at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's a fucking fantasy, man. And when people come to me with that about whether I'm evaluating an existing dog or I'm looking for a dog for a client for protection work. The dog is a big part of it, but I'm also monitoring the human skill set, because there's so much that goes into to managing that shit. So man, it's and the other thing with that shit, bro, and I'm always about stable temperament. Like, the people that work. Here's the other thing. This will offend a lot of fucking people, which I like, because I'll just fucking block them. Is that, like, when you talk about dog sport, right? Like, well, people will use an off-breed in dog sport because they're never held to the same fucking standard that the Mals or Shepherds are, right? Like, they'll get a fucking Schnauzer and try to do PSA. He bites, he does okay, but he's a Schnauzer. Like, no, motherfucker. Like, if you want hardware, you want to win shit and be on the podium, like, get a fucking animal that can do it. And a lot of reason they don't is because they fucking won't be held to a standard. Maybe they're out there, man. I know Oscar had a cool one, but he's kind of fade. I haven't seen much. Oscar Mora, who I'm a huge fan of. He had one named Benny at one point in time for a client that was biting okay. I haven't seen that dog do shit. I haven't seen him in a while. But show me one. Show me. And if he's a fucking unicorn. And you cannot establish a breeding program on a fucking unicorn because it's a once in a lifetime thing. They're not going to reproduce themselves.
Here's the problem with a lot of these Corso people that got these YouTube channels, that they're out there posing as trainers, and even Oscar. I like Oscar, but a lot of these other people, and even with Oscar, like, you got to prove something. You got to prove some depth of generations. You got to prove one and do something with one before we can claim that we're this expert trainer of this breed. And there's so many out there that are claiming they're these expert Corso trainers. We don't got none doing shit. There's none of them that done a goddamn thing at all. And like, I'm like you, I'll call it like I see. You guys they're all full of shit. They've never done jack shit with them. Show me something. Like, I have more working dogs out there, Schutz entitled dogs out there that I didn't even do myself. They're just my lines and my breedings, but I knew where they were going. More real trainers that sell trained guard dogs. And like, same thing with you. I have tons and tons of, elite athletes, movie stars in their homes. These are dogs in their homes for their family.
Good.
Because we're doing stable things. We're doing it real. I just never came to YouTube before. I don't even have a website anymore, man. I let my website lapse probably 10 years ago. My phone rings off the hook nonstop. But it's a bad thing that I let it lapse, because people could at least have seen some real things that have been done. like real, like, you know, like I know with you have dogs that were police dogs that have, you know, probably 50, 60 or more bites. Each dog you had, maybe hundreds, real shit. I produced, you know, hundreds and hundreds of champions in the ring, which is not a comparison to what you do with training. It's just a show thing. But, you know, I have working people that do it. If like I always tell people, if I had somebody like yourself or somebody that really was a trainer that would be out there that would do that, could I funnel dogs through them and be confident that they would get some working titles? Absolutely. But they're not in demand. There's not a demand for that. And it's because people have never proved it yet. I could only breed. You know, I can't breed and train at the same time because I dedicate to breeding. So my life is in this pen. I have, you know, Whitney's mom helps me with whelping. I'm evaluating litters, sending puppies out, doing ear crops, doing the basic trainings here, you know, getting started. I don't have time to be a trainer also. Like I get people that ask me for training. I'm like, listen, you got to go somewhere else. I don't have the time. Like someone like yourself, you guys train all day, morning, noon, and night. That's your life. You don't have time to be breeders. You don't have time to learn the whelping pen. And I know that you had at one time, I seen one video that you had said you even did breed at one point a long time ago, maybe once or twice. Now, what took you out of that? The fact that you're like, I can't dedicate to this because I'm training. Is that kind of what happened or no? Because I have a good buddy of mine that was a trainer and he wanted to do it. And I said, listen, by all means, I'll sell you the dogs, but here's the catch. You're not going to be able to do that. If you want to keep doing what you're doing training, you're not going to be able to bounce litters and training at the same time with clients and stuff because, you know, there's different diseases that could come through. It's a danger. You know, you can't have dogs that you're bringing in for boarding while you have a litter going on. And just the time that you're going to put into whelping these litters and doing it proper to be, you know, it's going to take away from your training. So he got 2 for 6 months and he was like, hey, T, I'm done with this shit. This is over. I'm like, you never even had a litter. He's like, I'm not going to have one. I don't have the time. You know, how the hell do you do this? So, you know, so somebody like me working together with trainers, I love it because I do my part and I produce what I feel is the best quality in the world, not just in the country. With real trainers like yourself, it's a great thing. What's your honest thoughts on trainers being able to be breeders or do breeding at the same time? And what kind of turned you out of it when you started into it?
Well, it's possible depending on your setup and if you have help. But the reason I stopped is because my failure rate. Like,
okay,
you know, and it's, you know, I probably bred 100 Mal Shepherd litters.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 100 puppies. I've produced in my life over 33 years.
Okay.
I kept one. That was my first police dog.
Wow. Okay.
And I've had some. Again, I have me personally, and you said it kind of in the beginning of this segment, is that I have somewhat obtainable standards for myself. Right. It doesn't mean they'd be fine for other people, but I've just never produced a dog to my standards. And then, you know, you see these dogs that from 8 weeks till about 9 months, they're can't miss fucking rock stars. You can sell them to the whole world.
Right.
They hit that fear period and they don't fucking come out of it. And it's absolutely heartbreaking. You know, you put so much time and effort into it. So, you know, long story short, for me, it's I love raising, I love training the young puppies. It's a passion of mine. But there's only it's only one of me, man, and I've got to dedicate, you know, my time to the place.
That's why I think that's why Whitney has a bunch of Andifio pups.
Right.
Yeah, Tony does the breeding. Mm-hmm.
Hey, so listen, guys, I gotta bounce, man, but I want to connect with you guys more, especially Tony and like I said, if I have a saying, it's a very old saying, it's if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So I'm more than happy and open to speaking more about it, Tony, with you, and maybe even working with some of your dogs and try to expose what the breeds really should be.
Right. Okay, man. Outstanding.
Yeah. Well, Justin, again, yes, thank you so much for coming on. Whitney, do you have anything else to say except a big old thank you?
Yep. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. It was an honor to have you on, man.
Very cool.
Right on. Great to meet everybody.
Guys.
Thank you so much.
Like, subscribe, and do all the things. I'm going to put everybody's info in the bottom like usual.
All right.
Great.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
so much.